item I have on the agenda is for a subdivision. It's a preliminary final subdivision application for Staging Hill LLC. The owner is Steve Canilano. The tax parcel is 47949. It is located at 1115 Taylorsville Road. This property has two zoning districts. The front of the property along Taylorsville is Village Commercial, VC1, and the back of the property is Country Residential Medium Density District, CR2. They are in the front of the front of the property that's in the Village Commercial is in the Washington Crossing Overlay Historic Zone. The current acreage is 10.98 acres. They are requesting a new lot for a single-family dwelling that will be 4.08 acres, and the existing single-family dwelling and other structures will remain on this second lot, which will be 6.9 acres. They are requesting a subdivision with waivers. The waivers that they are requesting are a technical waiver from provision for a tree inventory, and the second waiver is a technical waiver from the frontage requirements for sidewalks and curbing. This is for a new single-family dwelling and commercial development to be completed by a future owner. The expiration is tonight, January 20th, and the applicant did send out neighbor notification on December 1st. The feedback that the township has gotten from neighbors is they request that you consider no further subdivision. You consider a conservation easement for open space between the dwellings and the Traditions subdivision. They request that the use is limited to a single-family dwelling at the top of the hill and no business use or storage in the CR2 zoning district. They request that current conditions of the property and dwelling be corrected with the lack of property maintenance. They do have concerns if commercial development is done at the front of the property and the Village Commercial, that there might be traffic concerns with that section of Taylorsville Road, and that needs to be addressed before the development is done. And they are also concerned about stormwater runoff onto Taylorsville Road from the additional structures. The school district was notified by the applicant on October 15th. The reviews that have taken place is the Planning Commission did a review on October 15th, 25. The township engineer has done a number of reviews. Their first review was October 8th. We did a site meeting on October 21st. And January 12th, the engineer prepared another review letter based on additional data that was submitted. The fire marshal did a review September 4th and approved the plan. There will need to be a historic architectural review with the development in the VC1 section in the future. Bucks County Planning Commission did a review on October 1st, and the other reviews are pending. So Bucks County Department of Health is pending, Bucks County Conservation District, the septic with Pennsylvania Department of Environmental Protection, and the PennDOT highway occupancy is pending township approval. If you have any questions, the applicant is here to address any questions you might have.
Okay, appreciate that. Is there any context, Will or Mandy, you'd like to offer before we see if there's any questions from the board?
Sure. Yeah, I just want to provide a little bit more background. Denise did a great job of explaining kind of the history of where we're at with this project, and I just want to explain to the board so you're aware, again, kind of where we're at with our current review letter. We've been through 2 reviews and via 2 plan submissions. They have been to Planning Commission. They were not awarded a recommendation based on that plan that was submitted to Planning Commission. It does at this point look like they're requesting a variance, I think, from the zoning ordinance, which I will say is not typical that is an outstanding item before it comes to you 5. We also do not have, as Denise mentioned, any sort of approval letter or letter at all from the health department regarding the septic system. PennDOT, we do not have approval from at this point, and we do not have a stormwater management design. So that's where we're at with the current plan. I believe the intent is to subdivide at this time and not construct a home on it at this time. However, we've asked, in working with the applicant, to provide enough information to be able to prove that the lot is buildable. So we were asking for basic things such as a driveway, conceptual dwelling, stormwater management, a septic system, and a well. If we prove that all of those items are able to be constructed and fit onto the property within the zoning setbacks, and meet the zoning ordinances and meet the Saldo ordinance and the stormwater ordinance with some requested waivers, then that was kind of our trigger to be able to make a recommendation to you tonight for approval. And unfortunately, my office has not received that. I know the township staff has not received those few items that I mentioned, so this is a bit of a challenging application for us from an engineering standpoint.
So the last version of the plan is from November 2025. So the board would recall that was the submission that we received immediately, well, actually over the Thanksgiving holiday, the weekend following Thanksgiving. We got a renewed waiver request over this past holiday weekend from the applicant. I'll say there's nothing about the waiver request that I would consider to be beyond the pale. What's beyond the pale is the lack of demonstration of compliance with the ordinance or a movement towards compliance in which I would be comfortable recommending to the board to go out on a limb because there's been enough demonstration that we can get to compliance. Frankly, I don't have that with this application.
So if I'm summarizing what you're telling me, what Denise is telling us, that this is something that the township would likely be in favor of, but the process has not been followed to this point.
Correct.
Fair to say?
That's
Sure,
fair.
and technically it is the vote of the 5 of you, right? But it's tough to recommend approval at this point to the 5 of you with what we have now.
Okay.
Now, what's the potential zoning variance that's needed?
It looks like they
10.
had submitted a request from section,
For the trees.
903B6C, which is for documenting removal of trees over 10 inches in width.
But I think let's qualify that, but we don't know what the scope of that variance request is because you would need to have some level of an inventory of the trees to know the scope of the request.
Right, so it appears obviously that the site is wooded if you look at an aerial plan, but we don't have any documentation as to sizing of trees or which ones would be proposed to be removed.
Sure. Okay.
Any other questions from any board members for either Mr. Catalano or Will or Amanda?
So I have lots of questions, but I don't think we'll get any answers tonight. I do think that the plan needs more work. I would strongly encourage the applicant to take this back and complete that work. In the absence of that, if tonight is the deadline for a decision, I'll be happy to make a motion when you're ready.
Do you want
To
to
that-
hear from the applicant?
What's that?
Do you want to hear
Well-
from the applicant on any of this?
Certainly. But to Tom's point about taking it back, is that even possible at this point with the?
There would have to be a written extension. Tonight's the deadline. If we don't hear it tonight or make a decision tonight.
So what I'm saying is that the applicant is here. If the applicant, I'm encouraging the applicant to take this back and to complete more work on it. In the absence of doing that, if tonight is the vote, I'll be happy to make a motion.
Fair enough. Mr. Catalano, if you're here this evening, you have a presentation you'd like to make?
The most important thing that this plan does is it breaks up an assemblage that was ingeniously completed over a 60-year period that leaves a track suitable for the most intensive residential development in this town as infill development with sewer and water all ready to go. This minor subdivision, and I have not requested any variances, my protective covenants that I put on the property prohibit the needless removal of any tree of any size. So the ordinance section cited requires that every tree above 10 inches be surveyed and located. And there's a biblical, the whole entire track, from what I can tell, hasn't been logged since the 1800s. So there's a biblical number of trees that are there, but the protective covenants that are a part of my application prohibit any of them from being disturbed, whether they're 2 inches or 20 inches. So I've asked to not not do weeks of surveying needlessly to locate all the trees because my protective covenants doesn't allow a single one of them.
Can you just clarify what you mean by protective covenants?
With my subdivision application, I had to submit everything that's required. Those things included any protective covenants that were proposed, easements, and other documentation.
So it's a proposed protective
Yeah,
covenant?
so as a part of this application and as an attachment to it, and it can't go forward without it.
And I don't think we've received that to date, by the way. I don't believe the township has that in their possession.
We
have
have statements in the letters, but there's nothing, let me just cut to the chase. When I'm looking for a protective covenant, I'm talking about something that's recorded against the property today. Is there anything that's recorded against the property today with respect to the covenants that you're describing?
No, I attached them to the application as part and parcel of it.
My
so
question was,
that-
are they recorded?
Well, you wouldn't record a protective covenant on a subdivision that wasn't approved yet.
Right.
So it's not been done yet. But the subdivision cannot be approved without it because it's part of the application. And it prohibits any trees, any vegetation, any unusual feature from being disturbed on the piece of ground because it's 4 acres and it only has to support one home. And everything, when constructed, can be designed to miss all its natural features. And so it's more comprehensive than the ordinance itself because it protects trees over 11 inches and it requires you to survey them. Well, I've made it so you can't touch any of the trees or any of the outcroppings.
Again, it
or-
sounds like you're speaking in past tense and there's nothing recorded against the property.
Well,
and I
you
don't think
don't
we've
record it
seen.
till you
I
get it
understand that, sir.
approved.
But I don't think we've seen any details that can
I've-
prove that's even feasible. Again, we don't have a whole lot of engineered
So can
plans
I-
to look
can I-
at.
can
but-
I
Can I-
submitted
can I-
that protective covenant with my application and
Mr. Catalano,
Denise-
could I try to help you here?
Sure.
So what you're hearing them say is that the file is not complete. If the file is not complete and the deadline is tonight and you are asking this board to take a vote, you're going to get denied. If you take it back,
but-
if you take it back and complete the file, your chances of getting approved increase significantly. But
So-
if we're forced to make a decision tonight on an incomplete file, we're probably going to deny it.
Okay.
It's got nothing to do with your plan or just a.
If I exceed your requirements and in such a way that a huge amount of micro work that's completely beneficial to no one is avoided,
if that-
and I exceed them,
If that commitment
that's
is...
not a lacking, that's
that-
not a lack of
if-
performance,
this
that's
is-
overperformance.
This is a paperwork issue. Your file's not complete. So if you can...
Well, you're talking about hundreds of trees to be located for nothing.
What we're talking about is completing the documents. If the documents are completed, then it's in a better place. If the documents are not completed, it's very difficult for us to approve it.
This board is empowered with discretion, reasonableness, health, safety, and welfare.
Of course.
This application kills the remaining townhouse zone. One lot line. Okay? To make me go out and survey hundreds of trees.
I'm not making you do that. I'm asking for the file to be complete.
Well, it's a paperwork requirement that requires discretion and reason. It's excessive.
And might I add, sir,
I
that
have exceeded it.
the land
I have
development,
exceeded
Mr.
it.
Catalano, the land development process does allow for you to request a variance or a waiver from the zoning or the SALDO ordinances. So if you feel that it is
I've
undue
exceeded
hardship,
it.
you are welcome to request relief from those items.
Well, first of all, apparently there's some lack of transmission because the township engineer and the solicitor haven't even seen the protective covenants.
Well,
But
it's
they
not,
protect,
listen,
they
hold on.
protect that, can I finish?
Finish,
They
and then
protect
I have
everything
questions for you.
down to a dandelion.
Right.
I don't have to survey the dandelions anymore.
No, the ordinance doesn't
I've
require
protected
that.
them all.
Listen,
Sure.
is it your priority to protect the property from townhouse development? Is that what you're trying to do here? Is that the favor that I
That's-
perceive?
Yeah, well, that's a big thing. This
Yeah,
single
I don't.
breakup
Yes or no?
stops that.
Yes or no?
And the adjoiners, the neighbors, the town, everybody wants that.
Yep, I want that too.
Okay.
So if that's the priority, what we're hearing is you're proposing a restrictive covenant that hasn't been prepared, hasn't been
No,
reviewed.
no, it's either, it's been,
Did your attorney
Denise just said it was given to her.
did your attorney prepare a deed covenant for these properties?
Yes, I have a protective covenant that
Okay.
has held up on
We do not have
15
it,
different
so
jobs.
we need to review that. But if, as we said, the plan is not complete. We cannot treat you any differently than we would treat any other applicant. If you're very, very concerned about the development of the properties, you can deed restrict them now, and deed restrict it in such a way that it can only ever be subdivided into 2 lots and no trees taken down and everything else. But I don't really believe, having driven by the property every single day, that you can build a house there and not take down 1 tree. That's crazy.
Well,
So- So I think we need a little bit more explanation. I think we need your engineer in here to explain a few things to us. I think probably having your attorney in here to talk about the covenant you're proposing would be helpful. But this exchange is not helpful because we're requesting information, we're not getting it. So you're putting us in a really tough spot because we want to help you do this. We want to help you do this. Believe me.
okay, well then, I would like the professionals to be given the protective covenants that I handed over in August
I'm
to
just
be
gonna tell you-
reviewed.
Sir.
That do more than what they're, I'm not incomplete, I'm undeveloping this
Sir.
township. I want them to get delivered what
can
I
tell you-
handed in 5 months ago.
Sir, I
and
can
they're-
tell you-
And they're acting like I'm not prepared right now. This is one of the most beneficial preservation applications in the history of this town.
Sir, I would tell you, I will never approve a covenant unless there is some demonstration on a plan of the scope of the trees that you're talking about.
All of them.
And, sir?
All.
And, okay, so
All.
understand, that means 0 building envelopes. That means no driveway.
Well,
That means
I met
pure
with-
preservation. And to Supervisor Taylor's
Okay.
point,
I
if that's
met
your
with-
intention, then just preserve it
All
today.
right, all right. I met with Jacob Rigg and.
I understand.
And the township zoning officer and walked the track and, determined that if the driveway was put in.
Sir, with all due respect, that is not documentation on a plan. A site walk.
Can I finish?
I
Can
do apologize,
can I
but
finish?
we've met multiple times with you, and there is no plan documentation of this.
I've never met you in my life. I would like to finish my
I
statement.
understand. My team. Thank you.
Okay. The driveway going up there is best done when it's done by the operator to avoid all the vegetation. And Jacob, who was very helpful at the meeting, said, look, then put a note on the plan that says if you're going to take a tree over 11 inches, and I would say the odds of that are very thin, that you have to apply for a permit. And I've agreed to put that note on and to allow the Township Engineering Office to inspect it before the driveway's put in and during. As far as the house goes, I'm just breaking up the townhouse zone and creating an estate lot. I don't intend to build a house there. I don't know what's going to be built there. Whatever I draw on the plans is a cartoon that will go in the garbage, waste our time, and burden this important preservation project that removes 50 houses from the view shed of traditions, and they love that. Now, if we're all here working for the voters, the people that adjoin my land do not want to look at another street of Northeast Philadelphia. They want to look at what's there with a couple of state homes on it. And I have interviewed them extensively. I had to notify hundreds of them because they're so close to my property, and no opposition was voiced. So we're merely talking about, should I survey every single 11-inch tree on this track when I've already put, since August, protective covenants that protects every single stem in there? And
Mr. Catalino,
that's just
I just have one question.
Yeah.
Are you working with any professionals as you try to facilitate what you want to do for the township?
I've been developing land for 50 years.
No, or currently on this particular, what you're presenting to us,
Yes,
are you working with any professionals?
Myself.
Not just yourself?
yes, and I've been developing land for 50 years into preservation projects. I've done 5 of them in this town and gotten approved in one meeting. And
See, what I was
so I know what I'm doing. I don't
that-
need an attorney to tell me that
No.
if they haven't been delivered
I
the protective
understand
covenants,
that. What
they
I'm saying,
can't
what might be
testify.
helpful to, because you've done all this legwork, for them to put it in the format that we need to have in order to move forward.
No one
So-
here needs me to survey every stem over 11 inches when I preserve them all. That's just busy work. Now, this is a preservation plan, and we're all for that.
Okay.
We shouldn't put busy, expensive, time-consuming nonsense upon a preservation
So
plan that
basic-
stops the townhouse zone.
So at the present time, on this particular project, you don't have any professional that's helping you. Our township
Oh, no,
officers are helping.
I'm very competent, and I have the best professionals.
Yeah,
This
okay.
is a single lot line, a minor subdivision. You're not allowed to do a minor subdivision if you propose public roadside construction. It conforms with that, but it's a little thing that does a big thing. It
Well,
takes
I
it
hope you
takes away.
understand what we're saying here this evening. We need more in order to, take a vote that's favorable to you. At the present time, we do not have that.
So if I preserved all the trees, you want me to survey some of them?
There's a whole lot of things that are needed, And that's what
Well,
we've been presenting.
that's all they've testified to
So we
far.
should clarify, to Yvette's point, what's in front of this board tonight is not a preservation deal, it's not an easement, it's a subdivision request. And that subdivision request has a clock on it, clock is up tonight. So the real question is, will you,
It
will
is,
you, will
sir,
you give?
it is preservation because you need 25 acres
No,
to
it's-
do
it's-
performance
it's-
development
I don't-
there,
I-
and this breaks that up.
I don't want to argue with you, but.
Well, that's a
but-
fact.
But this is not a preservation deal, you're asking to subdivide the space. So
I'm
that's a.
subtracting 49 units from that hill
This is a
that
subdivision.
you zoned,
This is a subdivision. The application
One
has a
lot.
clock on it.
one lot.
They're asking for approval without a complete plan. The real question is, will you accept an extension? Will you ask for an extension to work to complete the file? If not, we have to take a
Well,
vote.
do you actually want me to spend weeks and
I'm not asking you to spend anything.
thousands of dollars
I'm
to
ask-
survey trees?
I'm just asking you to
when
complete
I'm
their file.
preserving all of them with a more holistic, but they haven't gotten a copy of it?
The
So they
answer's-
can't even
Yes.
comment on,
The
they
answer's
can't even
yes.
tell you, I did better than your ordinance
Sir.
because they weren't given my file.
Sir, I know what you're talking about, but you're not, you haven't demonstrated anything. You've just asked that we.
But you
Sir,
have not been
sir,
given my
stop.
legal documents. I submitted in
board-
August and you don't have them yet.
I do.
Well,
It's
then
not-
why aren't you telling them that my protective covenants
it's
don't
not.
allow a tree to be touched?
Because it does not allow what you're saying it allows.
Yes, it
Because you
does.
don't have any survey to back anything up. We've been asking for this information
I've agreed
since
to submit
August.
a forestry management plan.
Then do it.
A forester has to inventory what's there, and I've said that has to be done before anybody can get a building permit.
Then do it.
If-
That's what we want, for you to do it.
And if you are requiring preservation of those trees, we need to know what those trees are in order to,
I said all.
I understand that.
can't
but-
be
Okay,
all,
well, you're
right.
not understanding it because all means all and inventorying all means nothing. This is hoop jumping on a thing that's preventing this piece
then I would
from
agree.
being developed high intensity.
Okay.
Now, come on, I told you, you don't have it. I don't know why.
We have it.
But when you read it, you'll
have
see
your document.
nobody can touch
Did-
a tree
did-
anywhere.
I
Mr.
apologize, we
Catalano,
didn't know it was a
I'm gonna-
protective
I'm
covenant.
gonna-
So I don't want to be viewed as deficient when I'm preserving more land than anybody that's walked in here in 20 years.
Understand, I think we've heard your case. We've heard from our professionals. At this time, I'm willing to entertain a motion for this application. Does anybody
Well,
would anybody
I
like to make one?
I also would
So I'm
like to
gonna-
discuss anything else other than tree surveying that is substantive about this application while I'm here, because I've been waiting for 5 months to get into a single meeting.
I think all of the substantive information that you need to comply with is in the review letter. You need to take it back to your engineer and
No,
revise your
there's-
plan.
I
That
don't
is-
have an engineer. There is no.
That is how it
Sir,
works.
there is nothing but a single lot line on this plan.
And
There
every
is
time- I
no
am
engineer
not-
because there is no
Our
engineering.
Our engineer review.
Right.
The engineer-
I'm here to discuss it, every point of it now.
That's-
Right.
However,
we need
you
it in
did,
writing.
you did hire a
I mean,
surveyor.
they've asked for, in that review letter, for example, something that needs to be discussed is on the itinerary here. They've asked for a single lot that's 6 times the zoning requirement. They've asked for improvements along Taylorsville Road, and they're not improvements, they're damage to the environment that would be required if I was putting 50 townhouses up there.
Mr. Catalano, what Supervisor Taylor is suggesting is that you do have a surveyor that you have hired. If you would like to use that individual to take this letter to and have him revise the plans, that would be
Well,
advised
but
at this
for
point.
what?
We need a plan
I need
revision.
specifics. To put curbing and all that along
As I mentioned
Taylorsville
before,
Road.
you are allowed
I've
to
asked for a
request
waiver, and I'd like you to
relief.
consider that.
You are
I
allowed
think-
to
and I
request
think at this
relief.
time, we are going to consider that. Is there a motion for this application?
I will be happy to make a motion, well, not happy to. I would encourage the applicant to take the plan back and to complete the file. In the absence of that, and
Well,
acknowledging that tonight is the decision night, I would make a motion to deny preliminary and final subdivision plan approval.
I have.
Motion is made. Is there a second?
I second.
All right, second is made by Supervisor Taylor. Yvette, sorry, we have two Supervisor Taylors. We would normally ask for comment at this point. I think we've had some of that. Any other thoughts, Will, before?
No,
Okay.
I would just say failure to comply with the township engineer review letter.
Okay, for,
It's-
all right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
I've been waiting to have a meeting for 5 months. I'm here to discuss the engineer's review letter, and on generalities that have no particulars that are material, I'm not even getting a chance to present or discuss these items.
Sir, with all due respect, this is not the time to discuss our letter.
I
The time
can't
to
make it
discuss
out.
that was in the last 5 months.
I can't understand it. I'm not building a house. You're asking me for drainage calculations.
And
I'm
that's
not
why we've
building
asked to meet
anything.
with a professional that's working on your behalf.
I'm a professional. I know what I'm doing.
We're going to move on. You have the opportunity to bring this back, but you have to start the process again, and we very much encourage you to take a look at the review letter. You have all everything that our
I need to
professionals have
discuss
prepared.
that review letter with the board.
That's not the process. So we have a, the motion was made and it was passed, so we're going to move on to the next item on our agenda. And thank you very much. Thank you, Denise. The next